It's been 18 hours now. A lot has happened since the time you won and as you sit here. What's that been like, that time? I'm sure it's been a flurry of activity.
It's been a whirlwind, for sure.
Not a lot of sleep.
But still enough time to reflect on all of the people that got us to this point and prepared us for that moment, and the tremendous support we've received from Canada. We weren't alone when we took the ice, thankfully, because it was a scary position to be in. But we sort of just looked at each other and said, well, we'll skate for one another, and we enjoyed every single moment of it.
Scott, you watched those images fly by, and in the space of about 4.5 minutes, there was 20 years and all that you had done together. What were you thinking as you looked at those?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's struck us in the last 18 hours, 24 hours, is that we've been so fortunate. Fortunate to have the support of Canadians, but fortunate to have each other and to have shared this journey together. And it's been an honor and such a privilege to represent Canada on the world stage and to be able to have a shot at 3 different Olympic Games. I mean, that's pretty special, and a lot has to go right. But it's pretty neat to look back at our journey and know that you've done all that with your best friend.
Why do you think Canadians, Tessa, love your story? What is it about it that makes time stand still, that makes all those people watch?
I think it's easy to fall in love with our sport. I mean, we love ice dancing because there's a delicate balance between art and athleticism, and we love storytelling. So hopefully we're portraying themes that are universal and emotions that people can really relate to, and we're telling something that is easily relatable, and we're honored that people do feel engaged and invested in our career, and we're very grateful for that.
You talked about the partnership and her being your best friend. Where does this connection come from? We know that you were put together as very young people, and you've survived that in many ways, but flourished because of it. But there are little unspoken things that occur. There's a hug, there's a wink. Mm-hmm. Where does that connection come from, Scott?
Oh, I think it is, in many ways, it's something that we've been blessed with, but it's also something that we're extremely proud of because we've worked on it. A lot has to happen when you're put together at 7 and 9. I mean, it's kind of like an arranged marriage. I think we think our parents maybe were a little crazy to let us leave home so early, to have us go to Michigan 2 hours away, but in another country at 15 and 17. We grew up together. We've been through so much together, and I guess competing under all these situations, kind of being in the craziness of a home games, it brings you together. And I know that we've relied on each other through so much. So, and I think that's what brings us the most joy is kind of pulling each other through. I mean, that was such a fantastic song. It's not fair. I mean, I'm sleep deprived and I have to watch and listen to Jim's beautiful voice. But I just think it's been a special time for the two of us. But we have worked on that, and that's what we're most proud of. And that's the story that we want Canadians to take home is we care about each other deeply, and we're so proud of our business relationship.
Business relationship, but also, Tessa, a relationship with the Olympic Games. I know I've asked you about this repeatedly, and we've talked about it repeatedly since you announced your comeback. This was not about winning another world championship. This was not about saying we are the greatest of all time. You always said this was about the Olympics. Why did the Olympics matter that much?
It's a tough thing to put into words, and even as we're here for our 3rd time, we've been talking a lot about the fact that the Games just don't lose their magic. We're so inspired by the incredible Canadian team, and it's a very close-knit group of athletes, and there's always a story, there's always someone doing something remarkable. We're invested in so many other storylines, and you guys are doing a great job of telling those stories, but it's something special to wear the maple leaf on your back and carry Canada with you and to represent your country on the world stage. these are the moments we live for, and this is exactly why we've put in 2 decades worth of work to get to this point.
Indeed, the moments that you live for, both of you. You're now 3-time Olympic champions. You've won 5 Olympic medals, the most decorated figure skaters in Olympic history. But in the end, what you did was you changed the landscape of your sport, and for that, your peers are extremely grateful.
When I hear Tessa and Scott, I think phenomenal talent.
Amazing. Perfection.
Tessa and Scott have been my inspiration, my idols since I was a little girl.
Scott, awesome friend, awesome guy. Tessa, like, just an awesome role model, I think, for really anyone in skating.
I remember seeing them and thinking, wow, that's a fresh young team it's gonna set the world on fire.
I think that they really are one of the best of all time.
Over to you, Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir.
Олимпийские чемпионы Tessa Virtue и Scott Moir.
Their level of expertise is staggering.
Ice dance sort of lost its way. Tessa and Scott brought ice dance back to the mainstream, back to the average fan, and brought so many new fans to the sport.
Tessa and Scott have a kind of intimacy on the ice, which makes them unique. Yet it's not an intimacy that excludes anyone. In fact, the audience is drawn in totally to their story.
I think that they'll be remembered in such an incredible way forever, not just by Canada, but by the world. They're in a league of their own and brought something that you'll remember.
I've talked to all the other skaters in the world, and they're like one team where whoever is watching them become lost in the moment. And that's something we all strive for so much, and they do it so well every single time that they go out. It's really incredible.
There's no doubt in my mind that we wouldn't be where we are without them.
They don't want to do all that they need to do to win. They want to go above and beyond that. And they show that every single year that they come out with this amazing, unique material.
If I did have the opportunity to speak to Tessa and Scott at that moment that they made the announcement that they were leaving competition, it would be pretty simple. I think I would just say, thank you.
I think all of Canada is holding their breath, waiting for the next couple.
I know I am.
Thank you.
Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir, the reigning Olympic champions.
I just think all you can do is thank them.
Nothing greater than the praise of your peers. How does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest compliment we can get, I guess. But it's perfect because I think we have something special in Canadian skating, and that's our Canadian skating family. And it's so special to see Tracy Wilson on the screen and talking about us because she's been a huge part of our journey. We've relied on Tracy at various times in our career for guidance or just for a wink or a quick little squeeze of our hands. And, you know, people like that are so important in your journey. And it's pretty neat to be able to sit there and get praise from her because she's someone that we truly respect. And I think everybody in that video, I mean, we're so lucky to have had the opportunity, but it's only because of the people who have come before us. And hopefully there's some young kids somewhere sitting at home that will watch us and feel the same way as we do now. But we know that we couldn't be where we are without the champions who came before us.
I hate falling. I hate falling with a passion.
Oh, there are falls where I literally fall and I'll come back to my coach, Lee, and I'm like, I can feel my stomach and my throat.
We're on a small blade. We have no padding. We are just on the ice with no protection.
really from any fall that we have.
I mean, there was weeks where I couldn't sit and drive my car because I could not sit flat because I had so many bruises all over my body.
But it's not just the falls on the jump. I think the worst fall you can ever do is those unexpected ones.
You don't want to fall on a jump, but you half expect it every time that you put yourself up in the air. You know there's going to be a chance that you fall. So usually we know how to brace ourselves that when we fall on a jump, it's okay. It's the freak falls that hurt the most. The ones when you're doing choreography and you just hit your toe picks and face on the ice, those ones are the most painful. And hopefully those ones are never done in competition because that's just really embarrassing. But I've done that, I'm not gonna lie.